Hey, welcome everybody to my first full tutorial on how to do a LODC wheels 8mm wire wheel swap on this Maisto Buick Grand National G body. So we're gonna first go ahead and get started. I previously cut out the wheels using some wire cutters, and so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the LODC wheels out and use some wire cutters just to shorten the LODC axle a little bit. You're gonna press it in. The reason why I cut a piece off the end is so that it flares the axle a little bit and gives it that much more stability when we press in the wheel. Not necessary, but if I find that it helps a little bit. So now what we're doing is we're just measuring the cut. I always say less is more, so cut a little bit at a time so that you don't end up cutting the axle too short. So we're just sizing it a little bit and cutting little by little to make sure that we have the right size. For this, you're gonna need some wire cutters. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and cut out the knockoff for the wire wheel. Gonna use an X-Acto knife just to make sure we get a smooth cut. On this one we have both a knockoff for the 10mm and the 8mm, as this pack comes with both, but we're only gonna use the 8mm. So now we're gonna go ahead and get some tweezers, and we're gonna go ahead and grab the knockoff. We'll grab it by one of the ends and we're gonna slide it into position into the original hole of the wire wheel, and then we're gonna go ahead and slightly press it in. No need to glue, as the dimensions are perfect for the size of the knockoff, so all we need to do is just press it in. They are very tiny, so sometimes being able to do it quickly, it can be difficult, so just take your time, steady hands, and just press it in. Eventually, after doing a few, you'll be able to get the hang of it. As you can see, it took me a few tries, as it's been a while since I've done one. So for this, you can get some regular tweezers. I like these because they have some rubber grip on them. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and remove some of the excess plastic from the G body, as the 8mm wheels are pretty small, so we're gonna go ahead and remove a little bit of that excess plastic so it can roll smoothly. Went ahead and use some cutters, hobby cutters that you can use to cut plastic, and then use the X-Acto knife to make it just a little bit clean. Just remember, always wear safety gear, cut away from yourself. I know I at times cut towards me, but it's just I've done this for a long time, so it just takes practice. So just remember safety first. Wear your eye glasses, protective glasses, goggles, and make sure that you're being safe. Remember, patience is always key as you are working on your wheel swaps. So now that we've adjusted it, it fits pretty good. Again, no need to glue, crimp the axle, as the dimensions are perfect for it. If say you're gonna be removing it a lot, then I would recommend adding a little bit of glue, but if you're not gonna be removing the wheel from the axle, then it'll be perfectly fine. It will fit well. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing with the second axle. We're gonna go ahead and get our knockoffs. We're gonna get our axle. We're gonna shorten the end a little bit on the axle. We're gonna go ahead and press the LODC wheel. Again, no glue needed. Slight press, don't press too hard or else it'll go through. And now we're gonna go ahead and work on the second side, but we're gonna go ahead and size it. Again, less is more. Cut a little at a time so you don't cut too much and make that axle too short. We're gonna go ahead and use the X-Acto knife to cut out the 8mm knockoffs. And we're gonna go ahead and put on the knockoffs on the LODC wheel. I like to put the knockoffs on the LODC wheel before we fully put them on the car. I found that it's just a lot easier to do it before we put the wheels on the car. So that one was a little bit easier to do than the previous one. but like I mentioned, the knockoffs are very tiny, so just take your time, a little patience, and you'll be able to do it, no problem. Now we're gonna go ahead and press in our LODC wheel after putting in the axle and the wheel through. Press it in slightly and all set. You're good to go. You've been able to add the LODC wire wheels 8mm to your G body. One of my favorite cars. Thank you everybody for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and TikTok for more videos.